You're sitting in a cozy cafe, sipping your morning coffee, when a handsome stranger in a tailored suit slides into the seat across from you. His eyes are tired, his smile forced, and he leans in, whispering, "Here's $500. Will you pretend to be my date for a day?" Your heart skips a beat. What would you do? If that hooked you, smash that like button right now and subscribe for more heart-tugging stories that remind you love can show up in the most unexpected places. Hit the bell so you never miss an upload. Trust me, you won't want to. Emma Thompson had always been the kind of girl who blended into the background. At 28, she worked as a barista at the Daily Grind, a quaint little cafe tucked away in the bustling heart of New York City. Her days were a monotonous blend of steaming lattes, polite smiles, and the occasional flirtation from regulars who never quite saw past her apron. Emma's life wasn't glamorous. She lived in a tiny walk-up apartment with her cat, Whiskers, and dreamed of one day opening her own bookstore. But dreams cost money, and money was something she scraped together from tips and overtime shifts. She wasn't unhappy, just stuck. Her parents had passed away young, leaving her to fend for herself, and she'd built walls around her heart to protect it from more loss. Relationships? They were complications she avoided. Friends teased her about being too independent, but Emma knew it was fear of vulnerability, fear of being left behind again. It was a crisp autumn morning when everything changed. The cafe was alive with the hum of early commuters, the aroma of fresh pastries mingling with the rich scent of coffee. Emma was behind the counter, wiping down the espresso machine, when he walked in. Alexander Hale, though she didn't know his name yet. He was tall, with sharp features softened by a day's stubble, and eyes that held a storm of emotions. He ordered a black coffee, no sugar, and sat at a corner table, staring out the window as if the world outside held answers he couldn't find. Alexander was the CEO of Hale Tech, a multi-million-dollar company specializing in innovative software solutions. At 35, he had everything money could buy, a penthouse overlooking Central Park, a fleet of luxury cars, and a schedule packed with board meetings and investor dinners. But success came at a price. His marriage had crumbled under the weight of his ambition 5 years ago, leaving him with a divorce settlement and a hollow ache in his chest. Friends were few, most were business associates who saw him as a stepping stone. Family? His parents were gone, and his sister lived across the country, too busy with her own life to notice his isolation. Alexander buried himself in work, but lately, the loneliness had become unbearable. Tonight was his company's annual gala, a black-tie event where partners and investors expected him to show up with someone on his arm. Appearing alone again would fuel the whispers, "Poor Alex, too rich for love." He couldn't face it. Not tonight. As Emma refilled his coffee, their eyes met. She noticed the sadness in his gaze, the way his fingers drummed anxiously on the table. "Rough morning?" she asked casually, her voice warm like the brew she poured. He looked up, surprised. Most people didn't bother with small talk beyond orders. "You could say that," he replied, his voice deep and resonant. Then, impulsively, he pulled out his wallet and slid a crisp $500 bill across the table. "This might sound crazy, but, will you pretend to be my date for a day? Just for tonight's event. No strings attached." Emma froze, her hand midway to the coffee pot. Was this a joke? She glanced around, half expecting hidden cameras. But his expression was earnest, almost desperate. "Why me?" she stammered, her cheeks flushing. "Because you seem real," he said softly. "In a world full of fakes, you're kind. I need someone who won't make it feel like a transaction. Please." Her mind raced. $500 could cover her rent for the month, ease the constant worry gnawing at her. But pretending to be someone's date? It felt wrong, yet intriguing. What harm could one night do? "Okay," she whispered, pocketing the money before she could change her mind. "But just for tonight." Alexander's face lit up with relief. He gave her the details: pick her up at 6 p.m., black tie attire. He'd send a dress. As he left, Emma wondered if she'd just made the biggest mistake of her life. The afternoon blurred by in a whirlwind. A delivery arrived at the cafe, a stunning emerald gown that hugged her curves perfectly, paired with heels and jewelry that sparkled like stars. Emma stared at her reflection, hardly recognizing the woman looking back. Who was this glamorous version of herself? Doubts crept in. What if she embarrassed him? What if people saw through the charade? At precisely 6 p.m., a sleek black limo pulled up outside her apartment. Alexander stepped out, looking every bit the powerful CEO in his tuxedo. "You look beautiful," he said, offering his arm. Emma took it, her heart pounding. The gala was at a lavish ballroom in Manhattan, crystal chandeliers casting a golden glow over elegantly dressed guests. As they entered, heads turned. Whispers followed, "Who's that with Alex?" Emma felt like an imposter, but Alexander squeezed her hand reassuringly. "Just smile and nod," he murmured. "You're doing great." They mingled, Alexander introducing her as Emma, my date. She charmed investors with her genuine interest in their stories, drawing on her barista-honed listening skills. But as the night wore on, cracks appeared. During dinner, an ex-colleague of Alexander's approached, a smug grin on his face. "So, Alex, finally found someone who can keep up with your workaholic ways? Or is this another temp?" Emma bristled, but Alexander's jaw tightened. "She's more than that," he said firmly, but the comment stung. Later, on the dance floor, as they swayed to a slow melody, Emma pulled back. "Why do you do this to yourself? Pretend everything's fine when you're clearly hurting?" Alexander stopped, leading her to a quiet balcony overlooking the city lights. "Because admitting I'm lonely makes it real," he confessed. "I built this empire thinking it would fill the void, but it didn't. My ex left because I was never there. Now, I'm just empty." Emma's walls crumbled a bit. "I get it. I've been alone too. Lost my parents young, no siblings. I pour everything into work to avoid feeling that emptiness." For the first time in years, she opened up, sharing stories of her dreams, her fears. Alexander listened, really listened, his eyes softening. But the night wasn't over. As they returned inside, Alexander's ex-wife, Victoria, appeared, elegant, poised, and clearly still bitter. "Alex, darling," she purred, eyeing Emma disdainfully. "Slumming it with the help now?" Victoria had heard about the gala and showed up uninvited, intent on stirring trouble. She cornered Alexander, dredging up old arguments, accusing him of being incapable of love. Emma overheard, her insecurity flaring. Was she just a paid stand-in? Hurt, she slipped away, hailing a cab outside. Tears streamed down her face as she fled, the $500 feeling like dirty money now. Alexander searched frantically, realizing too late how much Emma meant to him already. He raced after her, arriving at her apartment just as she unlocked the door. "Emma, wait. Please." She turned, eyes red. "This was a mistake. I'm not your date, I'm a prop. Go back to your world." "No," he said, stepping closer. "You're not a prop. Tonight, for the first time in years, I felt alive. Not because of the gala, but because of you. Your kindness, your strength, it's real. I don't want to pretend anymore." Emma hesitated, the vulnerability in his voice mirroring her own. "What if we hurt each other? I've lost too much already." "Then we take it slow," he replied. "No more transactions. Just us, figuring it out." In that moment, under the dim streetlight, they shared their first real kiss, not for show, but from the heart. It was tentative, full of promise. The days that followed were a whirlwind of discovery. Alexander cut back on work hours, making time for simple dates, picnics in the park, late-night talks over coffee at her cafe. Emma opened up more, sharing her bookstore dream. To her surprise, Alexander didn't offer to fund it outright. Instead, he helped her brainstorm a business plan, encouraging her independence. Challenges arose, of course. Alexander's board questioned his sudden distractions, pressuring him to focus. Victoria spread rumors, trying to sabotage their budding relationship. Emma faced her own demons. Friends warned her he was too good to be true, and her fear of abandonment made her pull away during arguments. One stormy evening, it came to a head. Alexander had missed a dinner date due to a crisis at work. Emma, triggered by old wounds, accused him of prioritizing his empire over her. "This is why I don't do this. You'll leave, just like everyone else." He grabbed her hands, rain soaking them both on her doorstep. "I'm not leaving. I messed up, but I'm here now. Let me prove it." They talked through the night, baring their souls. Alexander shared how his parents' death in a car accident had driven him to success as a coping mechanism. Emma confessed her guilt over surviving when her family didn't. In vulnerability, they found strength, resolving to communicate better, to build trust brick by brick. Months turned into a year. Emma's bookstore, Pages and Brews, opened with a mix of her savings and a small loan, Alexander's support emotional, not financial. He stepped down as CEO to consult, reclaiming his life. They faced skeptics, but their love grew, rooted in authenticity. One evening, at the same cafe where it began, Alexander got down on one knee. "No money this time," he said, holding a simple ring. "Just me, asking you to be my partner for life. Will you?" Tears of joy streamed down Emma's face. "Yes," she whispered. Their story became a whisper in the city, a reminder that loneliness doesn't define us. We all wear masks, but true connection comes from shedding them. If Alexander and Emma could find love in a $500 proposition, imagine what awaits you. Remember, vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the door to something real. So, take that risk today. And hey, if this story touched you, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Who knows? It might change their life too.